Welcome to New Realities. I have a very interesting technology I want to introduce to people, which is called the healing frequency call. It's a vibration that comes through the phone that can heal the body. Someone who introduced me to that technology is here, Eliane Silverberg. Tell us about this healing frequency call that you call a number and what happens, because I want the audience to really understand this.
When you call the number, you hear a sound, a frequency, and you put the phone, you massage the body wherever it hurts, whether you have an infection, a pain, a disease, and for a minute or two you leave the phone and you let the frequency do its work.
You understand energy,
yes.
So what's your theory about how it actually works?
It basically helps the individual gain more of the other dimensions that we consist in. It weaves into different dimensions, so when you look at yourself from a distance as an observer, you're able to heal traumas and a lot of dysfunctions. But what is pretty marvelous is they have analyzed on a physical level, if a baby or a young child has a stomach flu, stomach virus, we call the number, and within a minute the virus is gone, and it's been proven in
laboratories. So it's a lot of acute illnesses, intestinal
and infections,
and he's working on serious illnesses as well.
As well, like diabetes, he's working with right now.
I had the great fortune of going to the Mediterranean and meeting Dr. Haddad, and here's that interview on the Mediterranean with Dr. Haddad himself. I'm here with Dr. Haddad in the Mediterranean, and we're talking about a very important discovery he made about frequencies and illnesses and how to bring the body back into health. What drove you to study medicine?
Pendant mes études de biophysique,
During my biophysics studies,
je travaillais sur les radicaux libres, free radicals.
I was working on free radicals.
Le radical hydroxyle.
Hydroxyl free radical.
Et c'est là que j'étais intéressé par des principes d'homéopathie qui agissent sur le corps sans être compris scientifiquement.
And I was interested in homeopathic principles that have an action on the body and that we could not scientifically prove.
Dans un développement d'une cellule cancéreuse, nous allons voir que c'est une cellule qui se développe très rapidement dans le temps. Si nous regardons aussi une infection, ce sont des germes infectieux ou des microbes ou des virus, ce sont des particules infectieuses qui se développent très rapidement dans le temps aussi.
When you look at cancer cells or at germs, microbes, they develop very fast.
More dynamic, yes, okay.
Donc, tout élément vivant dans la nature émet une énergie bêta. Ce sont des électrons bêta.
Everything emits a beta energy.
Yeah.
That's the life force?
It's a pulsing.
Oh, the beta frequency is the pulse.
You can hear that on the
So
machine.
the faster the frequency, the more powerful and potent. So in your research, you found from five different elements, 5 different plant substances that have the highest beta frequency.
That are olive pit, fig pit, date pig, wheat, and honey. These quintessence produced 126,000 pulses a minute.
Okay, so the healing power of these 5 elements that you call the fractal was so powerful for the human life force.
If you use fractal combined with either homeopathy or antibiotics, it will help the success of either or.
Because it amplifies everything, it puts the body in alignment. The body's open up to receive.
Yeah. Avez-vous jamais entendu parler de Lakowski?
Have you heard about Lakowski?
George Lakowski.
George Lakowski,
Yes,
since 1920.
Yes.
Alors, ce monsieur-là, il a utilisé des principes vibratoires avec des anneaux, avec des appareils, et il a permis d'éradiquer des infections.
He's used vibrations with different machines and has eradicated infections.
Okay.
We get sick once a part of ourself leaves the physical body.
Si vous n'avez plus le temps dans un organe de votre corps, par exemple ici, si vous n'avez plus le temps ici,
If you don't have time in that portion of your arm,
vous avez une maladie.
you have a disease.
These energy blockages happen and they fix us to the past.
Exact.
And so the HFC, the healing fractal call,
cut this way.
cuts the
This,
connection to the past.
Connection, yeah. Vous êtes en perpétuel mouvement entre ici et l'autre monde.
You're constantly moving, shifting between here and the other world.
This is basically.
This is basic.
Mais si on va à un degré plus loin que ça,
Okay, on a more developed level,
vous êtes ici et le temps passe à travers vous.
you're here and time passes through you.
Donc vous êtes en éveil et en sommeil en même temps.
So you are asleep and awake at the same time.
Le HFC marche à 100% pour les animaux. Et c'est ça ce qui est extraordinaire. Et ça, c'est ce que vous allez voir.
It works 100% with animals, since they do not have rancor or bitterness.
Oh, they don't have bitterness.
The human is resentful, the human is in love and is possessive.
Wait, but the human then carries the memory.
Yeah, it's true that the human being is attached to the past more than to the present. If you think that your past is better than your present, you're not living the present moment.
The HFC is, in a sense, a vehicle for the consciousness to travel upon and access the past.
Exact.
Without the vehicle, you can do it if you have enough mental power, but if you have a vehicle, it's an easier ride.
Yeah, it's like a motor.
It's like a motor as opposed to walking.
Yeah.
I see. So the HFC, because the power of its vibrational frequencies, helps assist in the connection to the vital life force, which is the origin of consciousness itself.
After 10 years of research, our team of quantum medicine has achieved a breakthrough discovery, HFC. HFC can treat aches, pains, and infections through a telephone call. The treatment consists in quantum frequencies issued by a network of computers interwoven with the phone line.
You cannot record these frequencies and duplicate.
Ça ne marchera pas si vous le faites.
Back.
Ça ne marchera pas si vous le faites.
It will not work in this
C'est un
way.
voyage à travers l'espace et le temps,
It's a
à travers le coup de fil.
journey through space and time with the help of a telephone.
Why can't you record that and play it back?
If you remember the medical doctor patients we've had,
D'accord? Au début, on demande au patient de mettre le téléphone sur la nuque qui ne bouge pas.
first you ask the patient to put the phone on the neck that's not moving.
Ça a marché 50%.
It worked 50%.
Mais après, quand on a demandé à la personne de visualiser le problème émotionnel avec ses enfants et avec ses sœurs et frères et sa mère, là, ça a marché.
But later on, once we asked the patient to visualize the problems, the conflicts with the parents or the siblings, then it started working.
Parce que la personne, elle a voyagé dans cet espace-temps
Because the patient traveled through this time-space.
and came back.
They travel
After.
to the origins of the separation from themselves, in a way, the
Right.
trauma. What's the problem?
The problem is on this side of the neck, like behind, it's on my back actually. And it's this pain when I turn right, I can turn right. But when I go on my left side, there's always a blockage here.
Blockage here.
So I can turn, but it's permanent there.
away
This lady is traveling in the time-space of her memories.
Et le HFC la ramène au présent.
And the HFC is bringing her back to the present moment.
Will you stand up? Try like that.
It's better.
Completely better?
No, this is still a spot. I can feel something.
Spot.
Yes,
How much better is it? How much percentage?
much better. 70.
70.
Et à la maman de nous
De
laisser
sortir.
1 minute, après de revenir.
Now we're asking the mother to leave the room for the time being and to
Okay.
come back after the treatment.
Et là.
If you have conflicts with someone, you cannot be treated when the person is
Mais c'est
present.
toujours par amour.
Now you visualize your mother and you tell her, Mother, I forgive you and I forgive myself.
Ok.
Okay.
Donc, mets-toi debout et dis-nous combien de pourcents maintenant c'est.
90.
90%.
90%, I would say. Very long, no? It's been there very many years.
Is this a permanent fix now? Will this be permanent?
Ah,
C'est permanent le changement?
là, le changement qu'elle a eu, c'est permanent.
Yeah, it is permanent.
En plus, elle sait maintenant que les problèmes de nuque viennent de la famille.
And now she knows that these troubles come from
Donc
the
son
family.
conscient, il est informé que ces
So
problèmes
the
proviennent de la famille.
her conscious self is informed about it.
Donc elle ne va plus
The
somatiser
reasoning.
les problèmes de la famille dans cette place.
So she will not somatize these problems in this area
Et avec
anymore.
le HFC, nous avons coupé les satellites qu'il y avait entre elle et ses espaces-temps
And with
conflictuels.
HFC, we have cut off the satellites that are between her and the time spaces.
I was lifting a big stone rock to put for a parasol, you know, for an umbrella, sun umbrella to block it from the wind and for it not to fall. And I didn't bend my knees to pick it up, so everything, everything came on my back, the fall, no?
And you felt it immediately? You felt the pull?
Yes, I felt that. Not immediately, but right after I put the stone in its place, I sat down, I stood up again, and I felt that blockage somewhere. But next day, it's when it really blocked me, you know? I couldn't even stand up, I couldn't even lean down or anything. I couldn't even walk normally, you know? It was really tough.
You were just frozen there.
Totally frozen, no?
And then you couldn't get out of bed.
Well, yes, I could get up out of bed, but very delicate, no? With the slow movements. Sticking one leg before the other and not at the same time, no?
So what did you do? Who did you call? How did you find out?
So I called Dr. Haddad. I thought maybe it would be a solution for the moment, for right now moment, no?
So you called Dr. Haddad?
I did call him, yeah. He told me to call a certain number and put the telephone in the spot where it was hurting. For some sound or frequencies I put the phone on the pin as he told me, and he told me to phone him back right after. I did. Well, before I put the phone on the end, I was sitting down while the treatment, and before doing the treatment, I wouldn't be able to stand up correctly from where I was sitting down. When I stood up after the treatment, it was like nothing had happened. No, I mean no pain at all. No,
completely cured.
Completely cured at that moment.
I don't understand why someone can't record this, copy this sound, or what they play it back, connect to the past and be cured. Why?
The signal that's recorded through the telephone
a été parrainé avec le signal de notre générateur.
with the signal of our main generator.
Si vous enregistrez un autre signal,
If you record another signal to it,
vous avez la partie physique,
you have the physical recording,
mais vous n'avez pas la partie quantique.
but you don't have the quantic part.
Donc ça ne sert à rien.
Quantum recording. The telephone has the physical recording.
And not the quantum.
And generator has a quantic record.
The antenna in France emits the quantum.
Exact. Qu'on n'a pas
There
parlé.
is a chapter we haven't talked about yet about infection. How is the vision of traditional medicine and pharmacology towards someone who has a gastroenteritis?
An inflammation or intestinal infection.
Que si on pose le téléphone sur le ventre de quelqu'un qui a une gastroentérite et qu'il ferme les yeux, bien sûr, au bout d'une minute, on ne voit plus les symptômes de la gastroentérite, il peut reprendre son travail.
How can you explain that with a signal after 1 minute, if you have a stomach flu, the symptoms are gone?
People said, hey, I had the stomach pain, I called this number,
And
I
I'm
put the
fine.
phone, I put the phone on my stomach, and I feel fine, no problem.
C'est un peu comme au XIVe siècle, si on aurait parlé des téléphones portables.
It's like if you were talking about portable cellular phones in the 14th century. You do a culture of, let's say, stools of someone who has a stomach flu.
Nous allons trouver des agents infectieux.
We're going to find infection.
Nous pouvons les voir
agents.
nous pouvons les voir avec coloration sur le microscope.
We can see them with a microscope.
Après le passage du coup de fil, après 1 minute,
After one phone call to fractal signal,
nous faisons d'autres analyses des selles.
we're going to analyze it again.
And
Et ne trouvons plus de ces agents
And
infectieux.
we cannot find these agents anymore.
it completely changed.
Disappeared.
Okay, so this happened because the frequency in the body changed.
sont entre la jonction de la 4e et la 5e dimension.
We have discovered that the agents of infection are between the 4th and the 5th dimension.
Okay, before we lose the whole audience there, we have to define what they mean by the 5th dimension. Because where is it? What is it? We have 3 dimensions. We have time, 4th dimension. The 5th dimension is what?
It's
L'invisible.
everything we can sense and we cannot see, the invisible.
Like feelings.
Yeah.
Like feeling, par exemple.
That's
yeah.
the 5th dimension.
Aussi,
The
As
invisible
well.
essence behind everything.
Everything that's beyond the 5th dimension is eternal.
tout ce qui est, tout ce qui est en dessous, c'est-à-dire dans les 4 dimensions, est mortel.
Everything that's in the first 4 dimension is mortal.
Or, les agents infectieux
Infectious
ne
agents
sont ni éternels,
are not eternal and they're not
non mortels, comme les
nor
virus.
mortal nor immoral.
Comme les virus, par exemple, ne sont pas mortels aussi.
Viruses are not mortal.
Donc, il se situe à la jonction des deux mondes.
They are at the junction of 2 worlds,
Okay.
the mortal and the immortal.
Et c'est pour ça que maintenant, on arrive difficilement à éradiquer un virus.
This is why it's so hard to erase a virus.
Et c'est pour ça qu'avec les antibiotiques qui sont quand même extraordinaires,
That's why it's so hard, even with antibiotics that are extraordinary.
mais nous arrivons quand même à fabriquer des germes résistants.
We're still able to fabricate germs that are quasi-invincible.
Les Baxter, à propos d'une cellule qui vibre quand le monsieur est dans un état émotionnel particulier à 10 km. Sa cellule vibre ici.
Don't forget Baxter's experiment with the man who's 10 kilometers away from his own cell and his cell is vibrating.
On est en
when he
présence
vibrates.
de ce monde quantique impalpable et immesurable et c'est à la science d'évoluer pour pouvoir quantifier
So there's a
ceci.
telepathic communication
Between the cell
between
and
you
the
and
human.
your cells. That's how
Yeah.
a mother
And
can
the
feel
DNA.
the babies.
Ce qu'il faudrait retenir de tout ceci,
All you have to remember about it, every individual could take a portion of their health in their own hands.
What I think is a lot of problems of TMG problems are rooted in the psycho-emotional problems. Tension in the job, tension in the family, stress, time deprivation, sleep deprivation, and I think that this technology has a lot great future in the TMG problem area.
La plupart des gens sont stressés. Donc,
I intend to use it with my patients who are suffering from pains and who do not have a dental problem, and particularly due to stress.
et je reçois pas mal de patients qui souffrent de problèmes d'ATM alors qu'ils n'ont pas vraiment un vrai problème d'ATM.
Will you recommend this to your colleagues?
Oui, ils sont vraiment très contents d'avoir d'autres remèdes que les comprimés.
Yes, my clients, every time I mention this methodology, are very excited about this new way to treat them.
So to recap a little bit, you took these five
En
substances,
récapitulation,
created the healing homeopathic dynamic
Yeah.
solution,
Yeah.
which you called the fractal,
vortex.
a fractal vortex.
yeah.
You took that fractal vortex, you translated it into a frequency of sound. You established an antenna that would project the sound out. Someone calls a certain number. That sound from the antenna is brought to the telephone. The telephone then applies to that part of the body, any part that has the problem. That frequency connects the illness to another time-space, because this is the part that I'm still lost in.
Le téléphone que vous mettez sur l'endroit malade
The telephone that you put on an ill spot
indique au signal du générateur de fractal
indicates to the fractal generator signal,
où il doit envoyer le signal exactement. C'est
where
l'indicateur.
it needs to send the signal.
Okay, and then it sends a signal through the phone. It connects you to the part that's been lost in time and space,
Yeah.
and the body is made whole, brought back to this
Il
time.
ramène le corps à son...
La partie du corps, il ramène
à
la
son
partie du
ensemble.
corps malade. Ah oui, la partie du corps malade à son ensemble.
Yeah. And it brings that diseased part back to the whole.
So sometimes, though, you have to call more than once, though, because it doesn't always, only temporary relief, you have to call again.
For example, with menstrual pains, you're going to have to call every month.
Par exemple, pour les patients qu'on a vus au cabinet,
For the patients we saw at the doctor's office,
Yes.
c'était une seule fois et c'est bon, c'est
they
réglé.
called once and it's done.
Pour une grande infection,
For a strong infection,
2 appels par jour, 2 jours.
like a flu, you'll call twice a day.
Pour
for
être
a
sûr
couple
que c'est
of
parti.
days.
Or pain, sometimes you have to call more than once.
Si une maladie est incrustée dans la chronicité, par exemple un rhumatisme inflammatoire,
If a disease is encrusted in chronicity, like a rheumatism, inflammation,
ou une arthrose,
or arthrosis,
il serait difficile de la faire partir d'un seul coup.
it will not disappear in one
Mais
call.
si on parle d'une indigestion,
But if you're talking about an indigestion,
d'une sciatique,
let's say a sciatica,
une seule séance suffit.
one session's enough.
Okay, okay. So just talk about some of the amazing cures you've seen. People come in with severe gastrointestinal inflammation,
Que tu parles avec des choses extraordinaires.
tonsillitis. What else?
Ear infection,
Ear infection,
Eye infection,
eye infection,
skin infection,
skin infection,
brûlure,
burns,
burns,
coup de soleil,
sunburns,
piqûre de moustique.
Mosquito bites.
One phone call
One phone call, it's
And
sufficient. It's
sufficient.
Sufficient.
to heal the inflammation.
Yeah.
And what happens with the burn? It helps scars. What was your experience with
Ah,
the
ça
scars?
facilite la
It
cicatrisation.
helps
Hein.
the wound. It fastens the healing of a scar.
Huh. It's pretty.
C'est très rapide hein, la cicatrisation en cas de brûlure avec ça.
Yeah, it's a very fast process.
This is the discovery of Dr. Haddad and his healing fractal calling system, which is also called the HFC. There's numbers you can call, and you can try it yourself just for 2 minutes. It's pretty miraculous. I've seen demonstrations. I've applied it to myself. Something seems to work. Your skill has been to creating a body of medicine based on this quantum understanding.
Je suis très content de cette découverte parce que ça a permis de concrétiser toutes les recherches des personnalités qui travaillent dans le domaine quantique de ce monde, et on a concrétisé leur idée et on est en train de prouver au monde que ces philosophies corroborent et arrivent à une solution pratique qui est disponible pour le monde entier.
I'm very satisfied with this research since so many people, so many scientists have been working with quantum physics, and my discovery is manifests the reality of quantum physics.
This is quantum healing. This is truly 21st century healing.
Yeah, quantum healing. Yeah. Si tu veux, c'est un peu redonner à l'humain ce qu'il a perdu.
It's about giving the human being what he has lost, giving him back what he has lost.
And what has he lost?
Pour acquérir ce qu'on a perdu,
To regain what we have lost,
nous avons à avoir un degré de conscience supérieur.
we have to raise our consciousness.
Through vibration.
Through vibration.
Oui, si on nous donne la bonne vibration. Remarquez,
Dr. Haddad has really discovered something really amazing here. I'm going to be staying on top of this story. This is truly new realities in medicine. He keeps working in amplifying and doing more research about how to use healing frequencies to cure illness. I'll be keeping people up to date on the latest research of Dr. Haddad, so keep watching New Realities to find out all the latest. Thank you for watching. This is Alan Steinfeld. Thank you for introducing me to the healing frequency
very
call.
welcome.
I think it's a technology that can really change the world
I
and
agree.
spread healing.
I agree.
It's
I
an
agree.
amazing process.
Yeah.
And more vibrational medicine will become a part of our society.
Yes,
And Dr. Haddad is really leading the way with this.
absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Alan.
Thanks.
Thank you.